In this video, I'll break down all the elements that make Han Solo such a great character and how you can use these elements in your story to create a character that your readers will love. But if you're new here and you love stories and storytelling, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so hopefully I can help you to write your own story and make it pop like a balloon. Oh yes. So what makes Han Solo such an engaging character? Well, the first time that we meet him on the big screen is in A New Hope, and that is where we kind of come across him as a lonely traveler who's just kind of going around without much purpose and he doesn't really know what to do. And then he meets Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi and suddenly, boom, he has a purpose. And that is the turning point in his life, I believe. Because in his past, in the film Solo, A Star Wars Story, he is actually very lonely and it's a very tragic tale because the love of his life, Qi'ra, has been separated from him, and then when she finally meets him again, she is such a different person that he feels alone again, and he's just felt alone and without a purpose for most of his life. And I believe that that is one reason why he relates so strongly to so many people, because he feels like he doesn't have a purpose, he doesn't really have a reason for living. He's just traveling around, getting money, paying off bounty hunters, doing stuff that is not really fulfilling, something that he doesn't really want to live for. But then he meets Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan, and of course at the start he only helps them because he's getting paid to help them.
And I'm not in it for you, Princess. I expect to be well paid. I'm in it for the money.
But then later his motive changes and he has a purpose beyond simply earning money. The main point that I want to make about him is that throughout his whole life he hasn't really had the chance to love and really care about someone. He's been on his own. I don't think he's really had the chance to care for people and be part of something that is bigger than himself. And it reminded me of this moment in the film The Accountant.
I have a high-functioning form of autism. I have difficulty socializing with other people even though I want to.
Of course, Han Solo doesn't have high-functioning autism, but he reminded me so strongly of Christian Wolff, the accountant, who isn't really happy and is feeling depressed most of the time because he hasn't got any people to connect with. And when he actually finally does connect with Dana Cummings, he finally feels like he has something that is worth his time, and that is exactly the same as Han Solo. So he's had a tragic life, but then he joins the Resistance. He has a purpose. But then in The New Hope, he kind of backs out and he doesn't really want to be involved in this because he's been alone so long and he is not used to helping people. But then I cannot overstate the importance of this moment. He comes back in the Millennium Falcon and he saves Luke and he saves everyone. The biggest moment in his whole life, because he is able to actually redeem himself. It is just a big change. In positive character arcs, it usually goes up in sections. The characters grow in leaps and bounds, and that is a huge leap for him. The only way that people really grow is by taking a leap of faith and by overcoming their fears and actually doing the things that they're afraid of. That is what Han Solo did in that moment. That is what led him onto episode 5 and episode 6 to be such a hero and such an incredibly inspiring character, and to me as well, of course. I mean, everyone loves Han Solo. He's just a flippin' amazing guy. And anyway, he actually shows that he's not a selfish jerk and he's a strong warrior, and boom, 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 he wants to actually fight and he wants to do the right thing suddenly. He wants to actually do something that is beyond his own desire, which is very hard to do if you're a person. Because if you're a person, your default position is to think about yourself and think about your selfish desires. But in that moment, Han Solo chose not to think about himself, helped everybody else, he risked his life, and because of his own selflessness, he was able to save everybody, which is very amazing considering the tragic life that he's had. In The Force Awakens, you can see this part of him in Kylo Ren, his son, or Ben, because Ben has been corrupted by the dark side, hence changing his name to Kylo Ren, and because of that, he has not really experienced love either, and his life is also fairly tragic. But then he has a part of him, a stronger part of him, that connects to Han Solo and realizes that he actually needs friendship and love. And in the dark side, those two things don't really exist. I mean, friendship, love, dark side, not really. They're opposed to each other. If you haven't watched episode 9, then watch it. So I usually summarize videos with 3 points about the character, 3 things that I found that were interesting about them that you can include in your stories, but I really strongly felt that there was only 1 point that I could make about Han Solo. Of course, he has his rugged looks and his dashing personality that makes the ladies swoon, similar to when I walk down the street, but I believe there's a deeper element of him that makes him so interesting. So here is the point. It is highly engaging for the reader if you can create a character who deep down are very loving, caring people, but in their past they have never quite had the chance to show their love. But then in the story you could create an opportunity for them to show that they really have a big heart and they actually are willing to lay down their own selfish ambitions, where they actually finally, after a tragic life, have the ability to lay down that part of them that has always been selfish and to rise up. Han Solo is the definition, the epitome of a positive character arc, because he's changed in such an amazing way, and I really like him a lot. So if you found this video interesting or useful, give it a like and comment a character that you want me to break down in the next video, and I'll see you then. Goodbye.